van down by the river.
Oh, not a trailer?
Yeah. But no, it's like this Fox News, like the whole sexual misconduct allegations going on over there. And I gotta say, seeing Charlize Theron as Megyn Kelly, like the prosthetics they did, I didn't know it wasn't Megyn Kelly.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy how
Is
much.
this a movie?
Yeah.
When's this coming out?
I think the couple months. It's Charlize Theron, Nicole Kidman, and Margot Robbie.
Huh.
And then you got
Hey, there we are.
what, you see us?
Yeah, I see us.
Oh.
We're live now.
Nice.
Ooh, in fact, he's zooming in on me and adjusting my...
Hair.
Yes, he is.
Adjusting your hair with the Camara.
No, he's
Makeup.
He's zooming on you, getting your camera shot correct, making sure everything's right. Hey, welcome, by the way.
Hey.
We are getting ready to record the SiftPop show. I was told recently we should quit saying podcast. Have you heard of this? A lot of people are trying to stop saying podcast because it separates people from the idea that they might enjoy something. If they don't do podcasts, they're automatically out, that kind of thing. Plus, it's kind of weird being in different places. So more and more people are just saying show instead of podcast.
I'm
that
so
kind of thing.
sick of everybody going, we're not calling it this anymore because of this. That's like my biggest pet peeve in
But it's true.
No, it's not.
Sure it is.
Who cares?
I don't know if there's somebody who might...
I will go on a rage rant.
No, I get it. I really absolutely do understand where that comes from. I feel the same way. It's like, let people just, enjoy what they enjoy and figure it out and blah, 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 that kind of thing. However, I do think if there is a barrier between us and somebody, no matter what that barrier is, and if it's easy enough for us to remove it, we might as well remove it, right? Like, and the fact that we do this on YouTube as well as...
No, we don't. It's an audio podcast, Aaron.
Well, it's an audio show, you mean? I'm not going to... No, Andrew, I'm not going to make... You used to call it a podcast for the rest of your life, man. That's fine.
I'm going to.
But yes. But anyways, welcome to the show.
I'm in my 30s, and I'm already the evil hermit curmudgeon.
We're all already there. Yeah.
Get off my lawn.
We're all get off my lawn types now. Evan says, hey, happy rainy day. Thank you. I actually ran in the rain this morning.
Did you?
I got caught in the rain. I didn't do any singing. I should have done some singing.
It's a shame.
It is a shame. That would have been a glorious feeling to be happy again. So I ran my fastest 5K since I, used to run like back 10 years ago. 38 minutes.
Wow, you did a 5K this morning?
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
I do a 5K every Saturday morning now, and on Wednesday, I'm starting to do them on Wednesdays now too. I used to do a 5K every day. That used to be my workout every day, or the beginning of my workout every day.
My knees would not allow it.
I mean, possibly. I don't know. Everybody's different, but I have bad knees too. But they get stronger the more I do it. Like all the tendons and stuff around them starts to build up, and
I've actually injured my knees before. So
yeah.
When I was a wee lad, I had my left knee cracked. My kneecap cracked.
Yeah.
Well, technically, my kneecap crapped
as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
crapped
yeah,
out.
of course it did. Evan says he biked in the rain this morning, so. Good job,
Man.
Evan.
It's raining everywhere.
Evan also says technology evolves, precision of language is important. So, anyways, thank you for joining us. We're going to record a podcast or a show or whatever we're going to call it.
Yeah.
We're going to record SiftPop. How's that? We just call it SiftPop.
Oh, it's Sift Show now. Didn't you get the memo? We got to change everything.
Thank you for those who are watching live. We do appreciate you being here. We're going to talk about Ready or Not, the movie, as well as some other fun stuff. There will be a separate spoiler live show as well, so which is already created, so you should already be able to find that in your SiftPop feed. But Phil, I'm ready. Andrew?
Now I got all my popping done, so now I'm good.
All right. Well, I'm
That was the last
gonna stop looking at our beautiful faces so I don't get distracted.
Yeah, I get it. We're handsome fellers.
Really, genuinely, two very handsome men.
Phil, get in here. Prince Eric, get in here.
Three very handsome men.
Yes.
Ready?
Yep.
3, 2. Oh, that's not right.
We'll figure it out. Pardon us for the technical difficulties. Yeah, we lost the screen too.
It's because I'm bugging that one.
When is this amateur hour? We did get to hear the...
Test this out. Can you unmute me?
This one?
Yes. No, the other one. Sorry. I don't know what that first one did.
What do you mean?
He pushed the button.
But it was already...
was it already
That's
lit?
a master.
Yeah, that's just... That controls the EQs and stuff.
It was already lit up, so...
Jay Bourgeois says, so glad you guys shifted the review to Ready or Not. Interested to hear your thoughts. Yeah, we're glad as well. We talk
Me
about that.
too.
We talk about that in the member show, the SiftPop member show. So,
I'm excited to hear about it. I have not seen the movie yet, but
yeah.
okay. I really am ready this time.
Cool.
3.
Live from a bunker in the heart of the Ozarks, a podcast that is content each week playing a game of hide and speak. It's SiftPop.
The bunker is the best hiding spot.
It really is.
Yep.
Welcome to SiftPop, streaming live most weekends, are available to download later in your podcast feed, unless, of course, you're a patron.
Patrons get perks!
Patrons get those perks.
Woo!
I'm your host, Darren Dicer, and he is my wonderful and one-voice-fits-all co-host, Andrew Ormsby.
He's going backwards, people. Ahoy!
And each week we'll chat about movies, television, and whatever else from the pop culture universe is on our minds. I'm not going backwards. Why would I be going backwards?
You already hit Z's, didn't you?
I did.
So now you're just picking the letters at random?
No. Wonderful and one voice fits all.
Oh my goodness.
We're doing numbers.
We're
doing the numbers. We'll see how long I can keep that up.
Do you have anything for 2?
Not yet, but we'll see.
Tumultuous?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that works. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about this show. We had a last-second change of movies, which we're excited about.
Yay!
We talk a little bit about that on our SiftPop member show, which you can access each week by being a SiftPop member at Patreon. So if you want to hear how that all happened and how that all went down, it's basically summed up this way. Andrew refused. And
I didn't refuse.
No,
I
I'm just
pleaded.
teasing. I'm just teasing.
I
I'm
pleaded.
teasing.
I begged.
I was thinking about hide and seek, based on the Ready or Not movie. Did you ever play hide and seek?
Well, everybody did. Yeah.
Everybody's played hide and seek, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever play reverse hide and seek? This was my favorite game, playing like with youth group and big groups and that kind of stuff.
Reverse hide
and seek. Have you ever played this?
Oh, you got to explain the rules.
So,
maybe I just knew it by a different name.
One person hides.
This is basically the premise of Ready or Not, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. I've not seen it, so maybe I'm...
The outcome is a little bit different.
Okay, gotcha.
Different as far as... No, I don't mean that outcome. I mean the goal. The goal of the person hiding is a little bit different. One person hides. Everybody else seeks. And when you find whoever's hiding, you hide with them until there's only one person left.
I have played that.
Looking for the entire group of people who are all hidden in the same spot. So it's really fun because you can do fun things with it. Like, let's say you're with a few other people and, you go into a room and you realize the person or maybe a couple people are there, and you don't want to give it away to other people. And you're like, no, nobody's over here. And then you go keep looking. And then later on, you separate yourself and you go back. And, so it's like there's manipulation to it. There's trickery to it. I don't know. It's kind of a fun little game to play, especially with groups of like 50 or more. Where all of a sudden there's like 40 people hiding in the same spot.
It becomes progressively harder and harder to hide because everyone's giggling.
Yes.
Well, I think by that point, everybody's just running to not be the last one to, join the group.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought I'd throw that out there. That would have been the game I would have wanted to pick on Ready or Not, was reverse hide and seek, which I guess Phil's right. It kind of actually is, but with a lot more severe consequences.
Yeah.
So we're going to review Ready or Not. We're excited to do that. We've got a best ever challenge that we're going to do actually on Morgan Freeman movies, because that was originally the plan when we were thinking about doing...
Morgan Freeman does not have a cameo in Ready or Not.
When we were thinking about doing Angel Has Fallen.
Yeah.
We've got a cool Sift quest about directing that we'll chat about a little bit as well.
Yep.
Of course, we'll do some buried treasure and that kind of stuff. But man, it was a...
boring week.
Yeah,
Nothing happened.
Nothing going on in the world of pop culture this week. So I'm not even sure how Andrew's going to do a Do We Care. But
every single week, I scour the internet to find out what is going on. I pick 3 topics for us to discuss, and we must decide, do we care? or not. Number one, because, you know, it took me forever to find something. We're going to start with Matrix 4 being announced. Keanu, Carrey, and Moss, they're all coming back, people!
I have mixed feelings on this, and I'll tell you why. Because the word was, like, a year ago, maybe even more, the rumors were that they were putting together a
prequel,
a young Morpheus movie
with Michael B. Jordan.
That's exciting. I'm totally on board with this. Then this news comes out, and I'm like, I kind of want the young Morpheus movie. Like,
I'm with you.
I'm kind of not done. Like, sure, take me, especially because which Wachowski is it? Lana?
Isn't both of them?
Oh no, it's only one of them.
Oh,
I think it's Lana. But with Wachowski, you know, heading it up, like, I'm like, okay, you know, it's her vision. I get it. Like, I can get into it. But for me, I'm more excited if you go somewhere different with the same world than if you just show me the same people in the same world over and over and over again, especially when I didn't even like 2 or 3 really all that much.
Yeah,
I liked the world of it, but I don't know.
That on top of the fact that Neo's story is done.
Right,
you
yeah.
know? But at the same time, you know, there's something within me that's going, but it's the Matrix.
Sure, of course.
I'm with you. I would have preferred a young Morpheus movie. I think that would have been, you know, how he got on his journey to find the one, you know?
Right.
Him meeting the Oracle and her telling him, you will be the one to find him.
Right.
And
or even how his story of how he got out of the Matrix, or, you know, whatever the case may be, you know, the story. I think there's so much more availability for world building when you take a different line on something.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if that works, then you do a young Trinity movie, and you start building this expanded universe. And
a young mouse movie where
you do Matrix 4.
Where he just makes dirty programs.
But then down the road, the Matrix movies become the Avengers movies, right? Matrix movies become the movies where all of a sudden they're all coming together, and, you know, I don't know. I think in today's movie market, these companies are selling new ideas short, even when they're going to old IP. You know, they're using old IP in stale ways instead of fresh ways, and that's kind of bothersome to me.
I really want them to go back to the first Matrix and go back to using wire work. Don't do CGI.
Sure.
A lot of wire work, because that was just so cool, so reminiscent of Eastern filmmaking.
Yeah, I'll be there, man. It's the Matrix, and it may be great. You know?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I'm excited. I know it doesn't sound like it, but I'm excited.
I think we would have preferred the 100%. Other one, but still.
100%.
This is the Matrix.
Right.
Number two.
I
don't even know where this story stands, really, because there's so much going on. Spider-Man, in or out of the MCU?
I think it's safe to say this is to be determined. Everybody's treating it like it's finalized, but this is I shouldn't say everybody. There's plenty of voices saying this as well, but this is the moment. This is negotiation, people. This is how it works. People walk away, then they walk back. People see how responses are, and then they walk back. But everybody's treating it not only as if it's official, like done, but also as if they have to pick a side. You know, you have to be Team Sony or Team Disney, and it's just like, why does everything have to be like that? You know?
Yeah.
Which billion-dollar company do we want to make more billions of dollars? I don't know. It's a little weird.
Well, you know, it's just tribalism, you know? We gotta pick a side.
100%. It is a very human thing, for sure.
But, so I'm going to break it down for everybody who just kind of knows a general, like, all they heard was Spider-Man's out of the MCU.
Right.
So, what happened is Marvel and Sony had an agreement to have Spider-Man, played by Tom Holland, in 5 films within the MCU.
Right.
Going all the way back from Civil War to where we are now with Far From Home.
Mm-hmm.
Now that that's done, within that contract, it was said that Sony would retain all ticket prices except for day one, 5% of the opening box office.
Right. Day one or weekend one?
I thought it was day one.
It could be.
It could be day one or weekend one box office.
Yeah.
And they would also retain all what would you call it? Product
merchandising.
Merchandising. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that term was up, Disney came to the table with new New Deal they thought was fair.
Well, and
50-50.
I could be wrong about this, but I also think Disney had the option to do one more movie under the same deal. Like there was some sort of stipulation if this fifth movie made a certain amount, I think the number was $1 billion worldwide, that they had an option to create. And by the way, this again, I haven't studied this. I've just read on this stuff. So any of this stuff that we're saying could be wrong. Yeah. But you know, this is what I do remember.
From here on out, speculation.
Yeah, it's all speculation. I'm going to talk about that in a second. By the way, speculation. But go ahead.
So yeah, with this New Deal, Marvel came to Sony and they said, "Hey, how about we go 50-50?" And Sony's like, "No, no."
Well, and to be fair, they're negotiating from strength. They own the character. This is not one of those things where they're taking the character away from Disney.
Yeah.
They
were
own it. Yeah. Like they're negotiating from strength and they can do whatever they want. They just have to ask themselves what's best for them. And that's what I think you have to remember is both sides are just coming to the table and trying to get the best deal they can for themselves.
Now, here is what I'm thinking, and this is totally unconfirmed. This is just me spitballing. I think that Sony wanted a little bit of creative control within the MCU as well. And Kevin Feige's not half in the hat.
No.
I think
he's very protective.
Yes, I honestly think...
And understandably so.
Yeah, but I honestly think Sony was like, we could have done a deal, but you got to get Venom in the MCU now. You got to get Tom Holland as Spider-Man within our Venom films.
Yeah.
Because I think that would have been a really big selling point.
Oh yeah, that's what Sony's looking at a couple things. They're looking at the Spider-Verse and they're looking at the Spideyverse. You know, the idea of the live action Spider-Man that they could be creating on their own. They own the character. They want to do
the Sinister Six.
They have a lot of things they want to do.
And they got the Morbius movie as well coming out with
Why would they be satisfied with $1 billion movie every 2 years when they could be making 3 or 4 a year? You know, if they play their cards right.
Exactly.
The problem is they haven't shown the ability to make great movies that continue to bring in audiences over time.
See, I think that this is just me. I think that Sony is on a resurgence with Spider-Man right now. Here's what I mean by that. You don't only look at what they've done with Spider-Man within a film standpoint. They've got the Venom movie, you know, which, regardless of how you feel about it, made so much money.
Yes, was very successful.
So much money. I liked Venom.
I love Tom Hardy as Venom.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got to look at what they did when they bought Insomniac Games and they came out with the Amazing Spider-Man game. Like one of the most critically acclaimed games of all time. It's so phenomenal. Then you got Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse as well. Sony is showing they have learned from their mistakes possibly, and they know how to treat this Spider-Verse, you know, and that they could make it work on their own.
Well, and the other thing about it is that, you know, the Spider-Man movies they did make, I mean, they weren't awful. They were enjoyable.
Spider-Man 3 was.
I mean, so okay, fine. That's my point is they make movies with diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Instead of continuing to like have the forethought to build something interesting long term. But I liked both the Amazing Spidey movies well enough, and I liked the first two, you know, Spider-Man movies well enough. So it's not as if they were trash, but I don't know.
It's just the caliber of what Tom Holland and Kevin Feige have done with the Far From Home and Homecoming are so much better than either what are their names? Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire.
It's the Midas touch of Kevin Feige. Yeah. Everything he touches turns to gold. It's one of those things where I think we will look back at the MCU in 50 years. I mean, we won't. Probably in 50 years.
Wow, thanks.
But people will look back. You might. I think it's a little more optimistic for me to say I'll look back in 50 years.
I got to change my diet if I want to make 50 more years.
People will look back in 50 years at what happened with the MCU and look at Kevin Feige as one of the movie greats of all time. Like,
he's going to be on the Rushmore of cinematic history.
I mean, as a producer, I mean, he just doesn't miss. Even the movies that we kind of all agree aren't that, you know, the Dark World or, you know, whatever, aren't that great. They're still hits. and they still add something to the overall thing. And that's where he's a genius, is he understands how to make cinema be a serialized thing where even the stuff that maybe misses a little bit is still important. And that's, I just think he's a genius.
It's a TV show with episodes coming out twice a year.
Absolutely. And the biggest budgets ever, you know? It's mind-blowing to think. And that's what Sony has to be willing to walk away from to actually negotiate with strength. They have to be willing to walk away from the Midas touch, right? Because there is no guarantee that they'll be able to figure this out. There's no guarantee that Tom Holland will want to do more than the next 2. I think they have him signed for 2 more.
Yeah.
2
or 3.
I remember hearing 2, but it could be 3, believe me.
Yeah.
Speaking of speculation, here's what I'm getting sick of. I am sick of websites trying to make a name for themselves by creating fan fiction and calling it rumor. The idea, like, there have been several articles, I put those in quotes, that have come out saying, rumor is, here's the new deal that Disney and Sony are going to make, and it's 70-30 now, and Disney's going to, bring Venom into the MCU, and it's like, okay, somebody, the source, quote unquote, that you're using is some fan on a board somewhere who's just making stuff up and calling it a rumor.
Yeah.
Have some journalistic integrity and just say, instead of saying, here's a rumor. Exactly. But instead of saying, here's a rumor, say, hey, think about this. I wonder if this deal would work. Quit selling it as something that actually has any sort of merit whatsoever.
And that's why I was hesitant to say at the beginning of this, here's where we are with this.
Right. Because exactly.
You can't trust anything right now.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
Now, what do you hope?
Well, obviously, I hope that, Marvel can come to some term with Sony.
You heard it here, Anders. Team Disney. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm messing with you.
This Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I do too.
I also want Venom, Carnage, Sinister Six, Morbius. I want all of them in the MCU too.
I want Kevin Feige to control it all. Are you kidding me? I would love to see how he builds Venom into the MCU. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Again, because I trust him. I trust that he keeps the big picture and in his brain.
So I want Sony to come to a deal with Marvel, but I also want Kevin Feige to say, okay, I can take those properties I had nothing to do with and I can make them work within what we've done here.
Right.
I want him to have, the ability to say, fine. I want him to settle as much as I want everybody to settle, because right now the only people that are losing are us.
I mean, first world problems, right? Like, we're not really losing, but, I mean, I'll think of the amazing, incredible movies we get every year,
Okay, so you know what I mean by that.
Sure, yeah.
Losing within the realm of the stakes that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
We're losing.
Yep.
We're not losing at life. We're just losing in this struggle.
Yeah, I hope they can come to an agreement.
Yeah.
I think it is going to take a little more than, 5% of first day for Disney to think it's worth their while anymore. It's got to be getting under their skin a little bit that they make billions of dollars for Sony every year based on their plan and their creative, genius. So I get that, but at the same time,
I guess another thing that I read was that Sony doesn't want to give Feige a producer credit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see how all this plays out.
Yeah.
So, I'm fascinated by it.
Yep. Number 3. D23.
Ooh, man, there's a lot of news coming out of D23.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I've only seen the Mandalorian trailer, and then...
How is it?
I'm stoked.
Yeah?
I'm stoked.
Good.
It looks rough, dude.
Johnny Favs, man. He knows how to make stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this looks like... If this was like Game of Thrones, well, it is Pedro Pascal. So, yes, the Viper as a Mandalorian.
The Viperlorian?
Yeah, the Viperlorian. It looks really good, and it looks really dark.
Good.
But really, my big 3 things that I saw came out of, surprise, Marvel. 3 new shows announced. Yeah. So we got...
They announced a bunch of new stuff yesterday. It was great.
Did they?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, the 3 that caught my eye were She-Hulk, which is great. Kamala Khan's Mrs. Marvel.
Yeah, Miss Marvel.
What did I say?
Mrs.
Oops. Yeah, Miss Marvel. She's not married. I think she's only like 16. So, and then
She's not a pirate, so there is no R.
yeah. And then my biggest one that I was super stoked. Yes, I'll give you a. Yeah, you're great.
I got the head shake from
did you
from
really?
Phil, so
Okay.
I'm good.
The one I'm super excited for, Moon Knight.
Tell me about this. This is a vampire thing, from what I understand.
Yeah, I get. He's not a vampire.
Okay, I know nothing about this this
Moon
IP.
Knight's just like a super cool, awesome. He looks amazing. Are you trying to pull up a picture or something of him right now? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know why, because this is an audio podcast, Andrew. So I don't know what a picture
It's
would.
a show, Aaron. Yeah, I'm gonna be throwing that back in your face from now on. No, Moon Knight. He's an amazing character. He's he's a difficult character to talk about without spoiling.
Okay,
It's weird.
don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Then. Don't worry about it.
No, he's a fun character though. If you get into his story, he kind of deals with. I think I've read a couple of comics where he's worked with Blade, like fighting vampires and stuff like that too. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, look at him. Doesn't he look awesome?
Look at that guy.
To me,
crazy.
he kind of looks like a Batman. He kind of fights like Daredevil. Like he's got this kind of like very agile kind of fight style. So
Yeah, he's got some brutal weapons too. You mix Batman with Deadpool with Daredevil, and you get Moon Knight.
Okay. Well, that sounds interesting. Yeah, that was the stuff that Marvel announced, and again, I'm not a comic book person, so when it's stuff I don't know, I just wait and see, how it'll be. So I don't know anything about that stuff.
I'm kind of excited for She-Hulk. That could be fun. Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. I'm really excited for that. And then Moon
that's
Knight.
my number one excitement.
Kamala Khan, yeah.
Miss Marvel.
What makes that so exciting? Because again, I know nothing. Because that's not Captain Marvel.
No. She was a little kid who was a super fan of Captain Marvel, and then she got
Is it the
powers.
kid from Captain Marvel that's playing Miss Marvel?
No, I thought it was going to be. Whenever I saw the little girl, I'm like, is that going to be Kamala Khan? But nope, it was.
Okay.
I'm just excited because I've read every comic. So like
You read all Kamala Khan?
Yeah, I own and have read every copy of Miss Marvel. So I'm just really excited to see her fleshed out into.
She rides a giant bulldog.
Sometimes.
Fun.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
She has Mr. Fantastic.
Fantastic's power. She can
Yeah.
stretch and like
Oh,
have
cool.
giant hands
Yeah.
to punch people.
Cool.
And I don't know how this works with everything else, but she is she's not a mutant. She's an Inhuman.
Inhuman,
So
like
I don't know how that will fit with all the other stuff that they're doing, but
Wait, now, correct me if I'm wrong, Marvel fans. Inhumans was originally created by Marvel because they didn't have rights to the X-Men, right? Isn't that why they kind of
I think
invented?
Inhumans have been around for a while. Black Bolt's an
Yeah.
Inhuman.
Have they?
they've had the comic property forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, they. I mean,
I just knew they played them into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
yeah.
No, they
As
were
if they weren't-
enhanced.
No, they used the
They
word
had
Inhumans.
They had Inhumans. And
Yeah, I know
really?
they've used the word
Yeah.
Inhumans.
I haven't watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I remember from Age of Ultron that they called Scarlet Witch and what was it? Not Silver Surfer, but Quicksilver. They called them the Enhanced.
Yeah, could be. I just know
Instead of mutants.
because for so long Disney didn't own the rights to
Yeah.
the X-Men. They kind of tried all these different end arounds to kind of
Without
have that
actually
idea
saying
without
mutant
actually
or
saying mutant
X-Men.
or X-Men. But now they own them, so it's kind of curious to me, like how is all that gonna play together, or if
they
it
may
will.
not, but they may not make a deal out of it at all. They have to mention it, I think, at least in the first episode. But like other than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., there's not been an Inhuman in any of the Marvel properties, to my knowledge.
Correct.
So
there
that'd be
was
interesting.
a show, right? There was a TV show
But it was
called
horrible.
The Inhumans, right?
Which actually did have Black Bolt, and
Oh, I forgot about that.
that show was so bad. Black Bolt's one of my favorite Marvel characters.
It's fascinating to me. The way comic culture has taken over pop culture in general is fascinating
Makes
to
me feel great.
Yeah, I mean, how long though, right? Like, how long does it last, and how long do we feel great about it? Like, will there be some sort of fatigue at some point?
Oh, there's going to be a fatigue, but this is just one of
Should
those
we
things
call
where
it
I'm just
fatigue?
Feige-teague. Right now, I'm just riding this wave of everything I loved as a kid is now popular.
Yeah.
And I
No, that's
have
cool.
all... No, okay, I don't have all the insights, but
It's all about me.
No, I was going to say I have all the pre-existing knowledge, but I don't.
Right.
So,
yeah, sure.
Yep, there she is.
Yeah.
Oh, there they are, I should say, yeah.
So, can I say a couple other things that happened at D23 that
Yeah,
popped
because
out to me?
Marvel, there's got to be something besides Mandalorian and D23.
There's a lot of stuff. I mean, the Star Wars stuff, Mandalorian was, talked about quite a bit.
Dude.
But beyond that, I'm really impressed with what they are doing, both on the just kind of the technical side of things, as well as on the non-IP side of things. I shouldn't say non-IP, but non-big IP. So not Pixar, Marvel, or Star Wars stuff. Because I think they're being really smart about this service. $6.99, they made this official. $6.99 will get you 4K everything.
Yeah.
So it's 4K, also 7 accounts. You get 7 full accounts for that $6.99 for your family, and 4 simultaneous. So 4 people could be using the service at the same time.
Do you have the $12.99 list, like everything that comes up front?
I don't, but I know it's Hulu and ESPN and
National Geographic.
Yeah.
And it's just
National Geographic comes with just the $6.99, doesn't it?
Does it?
Yeah, because I think they include National Geographic, Fox, Marvel, Star Wars, and Pixar as kind of the portals.
Yeah.
And Disney, as are the portals, at least that I've seen. But I just say that to say, like, on the technical side of things, man, they are laying it down. They are going for it.
That $12.99 and everything that comes with it is the exact same price as Netflix.
Yeah. Well, but and you also with that, is it commercial free Hulu or is it Hulu with commercials that comes with that? See, I don't know that yet.
It's
with ads.
With commercials.
So the $12.99 includes Hulu with ads.
Yes.
And ESPN, which ESPN isn't, I don't know. The ESPN streaming service isn't as good as it could be right now, but I don't know. It'll be interesting.
What I want to know. I already have Hulu. Not only do I have Hulu, I have the no ads, and then I also have things with it like Cinemax and stuff.
Right.
How am I going to integrate my account I have right now with this Disney Plus?
I don't know, but I think long term they'll obviously want to do that, but I think those details are kind of still in the wind. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so from a technical side of things, my takeaway from D23 is, you're doing this, like you are going for it. And then on the non big IP kind of thing, there's a show they're doing with Kristen Bell called Encore. Did you hear about this one?
No.
It's going to be available day 1, November 12th. Kristen Bell is doing a show where she takes old high school musicals that people have done when they were in high school, and they restage them now, 20 years later or 30 years later with the same actors that did it in high school. And it's called Encore, and it's there have been many shows announced, and this is the one where I'm like, I want to see that right now. Like, that sounds amazing to me. But maybe it's because I'm kind of a musical theater nerd, and I come from drama club and that kind of stuff in high school. But the idea of getting back with, because who among us still do stuff and hang out with our high school friends? Like, I can't imagine redoing some of the shows that we've done with those people. I love them. They're great people. I remember having a great time. But what would that be like? I don't know. I just find that really fascinating. So that's called Encore.
That's pretty cool.
And then there's one.
Did you see the Spider-Man show they announced?
No, when was that?
Spider-Man or Disney Junior, which I guess is like a kids kindergarten show. Disney announced a Spider-Man show, and I'm like, oh, that's awkward timing.
The other Marvel thing that they did announce was, or not announce, but they, I guess, showed some of the first What If footage of. One of the first stories is going to be. Captain America's girl. Why can't I remember her name?
Carter?
Yeah, I think, is that right? Agent Carter as Captain America. Like, she gets the shield and becomes Captain America. Wow. That's one of the first what ifs. So yeah. So that's that show.
Peggy going crazy.
I am Cat Peggy or whatever. I am so pumped
Captain
about What
Peggy.
If. I'm so pumped about What If. The other one that's non-IP is The World According to Jeff Goldblum. Did you see this one?
I already won it.
So it says Jeff Goldblum leads each episode of this reality series by examining a deceptively familiar thing we all love, like sneakers or ice cream. Goldblum makes disparate connections between science, history, and people. And it sounds basically just like
It's
Jeff
Ian
Goldblum
Malcolm just going full
being
on.
random about whatever thing the topic is. I don't know. I look at this stuff and I'm like, okay, Disney gets it.
Yeah.
Because not only is that stuff fun and interesting, it's also kind of cheap and easy to produce. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's almost more YouTube than broadcast TV.
How much does it cost to get Jeff Goldblum to talk about shoes for 30 minutes?
Right. It feels like they understand the dynamic of where the future of media is going.
Yeah.
You know, so
Disney's not dumb.
No, they got some really smart people. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, I was really impressed with the D23 announcements.
Yeah. That's going to wrap it up for Do We Care?
All right. Well, let's talk movies. Let's review Ready or Not.
I honestly can't wait to be a part of your family.
There's just one more thing, and then you are officially part of the family. So, at midnight, you have to play a game.
Why
It's just something we do when someone new joins the family.
a game? What game? Hide and seek? Are we really gonna play that?
Well, the rules are simple. You can hide anywhere. We then try to find you
So there's no way for me to win, right?
and stay hidden till dawn.
No, thank you.
Good luck.
Grace couldn't be happier after she marries the man of her dreams at his family's luxurious estate. There's just one catch. She must now hide from midnight until dawn while her new in-laws hunt her with guns, crossbows, and other weapons. Yeah. This is a fascinating concept.
Starring not Margot Robbie.
Yes. Samantha Weaving, right?
Yeah.
Like, she's great.
Samara.
What is it? Samara?
Samara Weaving.
Samara. My apologies. She is great. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Did you like it, love it, dislike it, hate it, or it was just okay?
I really liked it.
Yeah, I'm in the really liked it camp too. Not quite in loved it.
No, I got issues with this movie.
Yeah.
But no, this movie's so much fun.
I think here's the summary of, coming out of this. This is exactly the movie it wants to be.
Yes.
It's one of those movies where you're just like, you nailed it. You did exactly what you set out to do with the tools you had. And I think that, for me, is one of the biggest, one of the biggest pros for a movie is to be able to do that, to understand itself and to be what it wants to be. Now, sometimes I won't like what you want to be. Sometimes I would prefer a different movie, but that's not the point. The point is this movie does exactly what it sets out to do.
Yeah.
And does it very well.
Yeah. A lot of that comes from both Samara and Adam Brody just killing it in this movie. They're so good. I'm jumping into a con really quick, but I need to preface, so it prefaces everything I say. There's some parts in this movie where if you really start to think about it, it doesn't make sense, and the only reason that they got away with it is because they say, well, then the movie needs to happen.
Right.
If you start to question, well, why did this character do this or this? You're like, well, because they needed the movie to happen.
Yeah.
So
Are you going to give some examples when we talk spoilers?
Oh, I got a bunch.
Yeah. Yeah, I was aware of that as well. And again, this isn't a movie that asks you to think deeply about those things. It's not a movie that sets up any rules that it breaks.
That was going to be my next point. You don't care.
Exactly. The movie doesn't care, and it doesn't need you to care.
Yeah.
It's just doing what it's trying to do. Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. That was my main con as well.
I'm so glad I didn't see Angel Has Fallen. This movie's fun. It's because the characters, not only her, but all of the family members are so likable in a sense, like you enjoy watching what's going on screen. You're not bored by anybody. And there's running gags, and for a horror movie, this is right up there with some of the best comedy horrors out there. the fact that this family, yes, they're hunting her, but they're really bad at it, you know? it's because they're...
Some of them more than others.
Yeah, some of them more than others. They're just like, I don't know what I'm doing, you know? We're just, you told me that this might possibly happen, and I never trained or anything for this. It's just fun. But honestly, I think that it comes down to, you gotta root for Samara's character and the fact that we like her so much.
We love her.
Yeah.
We love her in this, and we want her. I very much get shades of what's her name in the repeat horror movie.
I was so thinking, I'm like, oh, this is a Happy Death Day.
I was going to ask you guys about Happy Death Day, having not seen the movie. Like, just watching the trailer, it reminded me of Happy Death Day.
Happy Death Day is definitely more PG-13 than this is. This is definitely more R.
Hard R, yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely more R than Happy Death Day, but I want to say her name's Jennifer something, but Roth, I can't remember. I wish I could, because she's so great. Jessica Roth something. Anyways, she's great, and that's the exact same feeling I had with Samara Weaving.
Oh, it's that feeling of, you know, because they're going against the cliche of the female protagonist in a horror, always scared, you know, and running away. Yeah, there's that. But then there comes a moment where they're like, you know what, screw it, I'm fighting back.
Yeah,
and that throw caution to the wind, confidence and humor that both Happy Death Day and Ready or Not, you know, bring.
Yeah, and it sticks to its concept very well. You know, I never felt like it went against any, you know, rules of the universe that it had set up. You know, it leaves some of those rules of the universe kind of up in the air, so that it can surprise you and do story twists and turns and reveal things to you about the universe.
Yeah,
I thought that was done well. The performances overall, though they're not stellar overall, they certainly do exactly what they're meant to do.
Yeah.
The only people you know, who are doing you know, capital A acting are probably Andie MacDowell. She's doing some really fun stuff here, and yet you also feel she is the most interesting acting performance in this movie for me, because you feel an empathy from her that feels real and authentic, and at the same time she is who she is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought she's capital A acting.
I think Adam Brody is the one that steals this movie for me.
No, I was going to mention he was the other one.
Yeah.
That I felt is doing actual acting, and aside from Samara, who I think is doing some great stuff here as well.
Yeah.
Everybody else are doing great work, but they're very much just
character acting.
Yeah, they're just exactly, doing character stuff. Henry Czerny, I think is how you say his name. The father.
Yeah.
Who I know mostly from Clear and Present Danger.
Yeah.
He's hilarious in this, but he's not doing capital A acting. He's he's a caricature of this, you know, this thing, and he's great.
Patriarchal.
I'm going to say Melanie Scrofano is her name, the sister.
That the sister? Oh, she's funny.
She's great. She's hilarious. But again, a caricature. She's not, you know, doing any kind of capital A acting. Christian Brune is how I'm going to pronounce his name.
The bigger
brother-in-law. Yeah.
Again, hilarious.
So that's the thing. You've got all of these people doing really funny, good work. And I will admit, especially early on in this movie, I was kind of annoyed by how much of a caricature a lot of these people were. You know, as I'm watching it, I was occasionally distracted by, I want something a little more real. I want something a little more authentic. But then
That's not the movie.
But it's not the movie, but I also still kind of got it. I still kind of got it from Andie MacDowell. I kind of got it from Adam Brody. Certainly got it from Samara. So, you know, it was one of those things where it gave me just enough of that I'm not going to, you know, tear the movie a new one for it. It's just one of those things that I think deserves like just a little negative notch. Just a little, you know, is definitely some cheese going on here.
Yeah. There's a character decision at the end of this movie that I really did not like at all. But
it doesn't seem earned.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, totally agree.
But it also leads to a phenomenal ending, which is just so much fun.
Yeah,
I want to see this movie.
It's a great
again.
ending. It really is a great ending, and the ending really brings everything. Here's the other thing about this movie.
It ties in the ridiculousness.
It ties in both the ridiculousness and it ties in what if loosely the message of the movie. And this, there's an actual metaphor here. And
it's not a great metaphor.
No, it's a horrible metaphor in many ways.
Rich people.
But the movie actually is saying something. It's I guess it's kind of hinting at a message. It doesn't really land its message in any kind of powerful or meaningful way, but it's waving at something, and that's okay.
In-laws. Do you get along with your in-laws?
I love my in-laws.
Yeah, see,
I don't.
You wouldn't see
I
this
don't
happening.
relate. Yeah, and again that
you couldn't put yourself in Samara's shoes.
But for a lot of people, this is the metaphorical extension of their actual relationship with their in-laws.
Yeah,
this is what it feels like, and I think the movie succeeds at that. Even though I don't relate to that.
Yeah.
My wife's family is incredible. I get it. I get
this. It's a trope.
Yes, exactly.
And they just took that trope to the nth degree.
Yeah. That's a lot of fun.
There's also the whole, social, equality ladder thing that's going on here.
Yeah.
It feels like, the rich are always hunting down the poor and stuff like that. And if you are poor and you become the rich, that, you so quickly pick up on that habit of that greed and stuff like that is very infectious.
Yeah, there's a do you ever watch Succession on HBO?
Yeah,
they're into season 2 now.
Remember, I hate that show.
Okay, yeah, so it's very much the same feel as that. Man, rich people are weird. They live in a different universe where money isn't an object, and so they just do weird, exorbitant things, some of them with that money, especially in media.
Yes.
So yeah, it's that's there as well. I think.
Yeah. Great Morgan Freeman cameo. Yeah.
Yes. No. Yeah. When he descends as God, we realize it's in the Almighty universe.
Yeah. Samara Almighty.
Samara Almighty, yes.
So I watched the Red Band trailer, which has some pretty graphic violence in it.
Yes.
How throughout is that kind of thing in this?
Sporadic, but whenever it decides to go there, it really goes there.
I think it really handles the rhythm of that very well.
Yeah.
In other words, it does really go there.
But it's always played for humor.
It's played for humor, and it's not so much so often that you're like, I'm out. You know what I mean?
It's not a gore fest.
Yeah, exactly. I think it handles the rhythm of the violence very well. It's weird. It's really weird, but it almost feels PG-13, even though it is definitely not. It's kind of one of those things where they just handle the comedy of it so well, and the tone and the rhythm of it so well, that it doesn't feel as graphic as it is.
Yeah, it's the ridiculousness of what's actually happening on screen that takes you out of a reality where that would normally gross you out. You're like, that's so ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good movie.
It is. I'm excited to talk in spoilers about some specific scenes, jokes, all that kind of fun stuff. But
no post-credit scene.
No post-credit scene to speak of. I guess the only other thing I would say is, if you're a person who just doesn't like horror movies, this is one that maybe you'll enjoy. You might actually like, and that happens every once in a while.
Yeah, you and I don't like horror films.
No, we both enjoyed it.
Honestly, I would call this more of a comedy than a horror film.
I mean,
it's a gory comedy.
I am so sick of the genre police game, where we have to classify everything as something so that the tribe who loves that thing will love it. I don't know. For me, I just want to say, yeah, it's a comedy. And it's a horror movie. And it's a thriller. Yeah. And, there's elements of romance in it. And there's musical numbers. No, there's no musical numbers. I'm just kidding.
I'm trying to remember. It's one of those movies where I wouldn't put it past it to just throw a musical number in the middle of it.
As far as you know, maybe there is.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there you go. That's our thoughts on Ready or Not. Unless you had anything else you wanted to mention.
No, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
We will, of course, do some spoilers.
Yes.
In the SIF spoil, so that should be a lot of fun.
Speaking of Morgan Freeman.
Speaking of the cameo in this movie, Morgan Freeman, we're going on to the best ever challenge, which is Morgan Freeman movies. Boy, has he been in some movies.
Man, my honorable mentions list is just his IMDb page.
Well, he goes back a long way, too. I certainly have not seen every movie that Morgan Freeman has been in, so... Although that would be an epic sift sort if we tried to do Morgan Freeman's IMDb. We'd have to dedicate a whole 3 episodes.
The thought of that is just exhausting.
Right? All right, let's start with number 5. Work our way to number 1. I can go first. You can go first.
First.
I will go first. Lego Movie. I have it number 5.
Trump.
All right. What do you got at number 5?
7.
Nice. I've got it in my honorable mentions.
What's in the box? What's in the box? This is not a comedy. It is a straight up horrifying movie. Yeah. But man, people can look at a movie like this and just kind of, shrug it off as, just a gory horror movie. There are some interesting things going on between the old blood and the new blood within the police force. Morgan Freeman taking Brad Pitt under his wing and showing him the ropes, and Brad Pitt coming from a different city where he thinks he knows everything, and they get thrown into this game that this horrifying serial killer is played by Kevin Spacey, who nails that part for as little as he's in that movie. Mm-hmm. Oh man, it's so good.
I mean, it really is the movie where I think David Fincher found himself, found out who he was as a director.
Yeah.
But I think it shows a little bit too. I don't think he's as polished as he is later on and has figured out, the audience as well as he has later on. Mm-hmm. But it is great. It really is a great technical movie. Not one of my favorites of his. And like I said, I have it in my honorable mentions, but yeah.
One of the most famous endings to a movie ever.
Yeah. By the way, it won't be the last David Fincher movie we talk about on this episode.
Probably not.
No, I know for sure it won't be.
All right. So you're number 4.
My number 4 is The Dark Knight. Probably trumped on that one too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
go ahead.
man.
No, that's fine. Eventually I'll get to talk about my favorite Morgan Freeman movies.
Yeah. Number 4, I got Lucky Number 11.
Okay. I knew you were going to bring this one up.
God, I love this movie. I love this movie so much. Like, it just keeps, I'm serious, it keeps climbing the ladder of my top 100 movies of all time. Every single movie I'm listing, by the way, is in my top 100. Good job, Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, right?
This is just a crazy, ridiculous movie, and it's easily Josh Hartnett's best performance and movie. I love his character. Lucy Liu is like my dream woman in this movie. Just her giddiness and like excitement for life is so infectious. It kind of reminds me of Amelie a little bit. But you throw those characters...
That may be the first time ever somebody's compared Lucky Number 11 to Amelie.
I'm throwing Lucy Liu's character reminds me of Amelie.
No, that's great. I love that kind of stuff, man.
But you throw Amelie into a world where there's 2 rival mob bosses trying to kill each other, and this guy finds himself, unfortunately, stuck in between it. It is a movie that takes you on a roller coaster of what is really going on. And it's fascinating.
If you combined Amelie with Lucky Number 11, you'd get Lucky Number Slept.
You did it, people.
Continue.
But look at this cast. Bruce Willis, Morgan Freeman, Sir Ben Kingsley, Stanley Tucci, Lucy Liu, Josh Hartnett, and I guarantee you I'm forgetting.
I love how much you love this movie, man. I really do
love this movie a lot.
You're almost to the point where you're gonna make me rewatch it. Almost. Like
okay,
I don't hate it. I just don't. I never came away from it going, that's an amazing movie.
That's the thing. Whenever there's a movie that I love like this, that I know a lot of people haven't seen, not a lot of people have seen this movie. It makes me like, oh, I know this gem, and there's so many people that if they see it, they'll see what I see.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of that like.
No, I get that feeling. Yeah, for sure.
So that's my number 4.
Very nice. By the way, my top 4 are all in my top 100 movies of all time.
Sweet.
Maybe is Lego Movie in my top 500? Top 100 movies of all time? I don't think it is.
Should be.
Ready for my number 3?
Yeah.
I've got Bruce Almighty at number 3.
Okay.
Do I get to talk about it?
Yes, you do. I'll take that off my honorable mentions.
I am a huge Jim Carrey fan. People know that. I've loved his career. I love the way he's developed his career. This is the movie where I kind of fell in love with his persona even more than his comedy. Because he's doing something very real in this movie, and this movie is very it's a very interesting philosophical look at the belief in God, or what God would be like, or the idea of I could do this job better than God could. You know, like as funny as it is and as hilarious it is, there is a repentance moment in this movie in the middle of the street with the rain coming down that is really powerful to me. And I don't know, there's just something really beautiful about this movie. And of course, Jim Carrey is hilarious in it. So and it just has so many classic lines and scenes, and is so much better than Evan Almighty.
Yeah, this movie
Unfortunately.
is good.
It's good.
It's good. So, my number 3.
Yeah, what's your number 3?
Now we talk about the Lego movie.
All right, do it.
Oh, is this the funniest computer animated movie of all time?
No.
No? You don't think it is? I honestly think it might be.
It might be. I don't know. You'd have to give me time.
I know you're a Pixar head.
Yeah,
and
sure.
there are some great Pixar movies, but I'm talking about laughs per minute.
Right? Yeah, Pixar doesn't set out to make like full front to back comedies.
Yeah.
Right? They set out to make meaningful movies that have a lot of humor in them.
Yeah.
And I get what you're saying. Absolutely.
Yeah. Although, I will say this movie does have a really interesting ending to it, you know, with the father and the son, you know, and stuff like that.
Well, that's why I love it, because it actually also has meaning.
Yeah.
It's a straight up comedy that has a really beautiful story turn.
Yeah. I'm one of the people who, yes, I recognize the beautiful story turn, but the comedy in this movie, the laughs per minute, is just so good, because they get not like Lucky Number 11, but, you know, just a giant cast. But it's a well cast ensemble. You know, everybody is perfect for the role. Morgan Freeman as what's his name?
Vitruvius.
Vitruvius, yeah. Oh, he kills it. He is so funny in this movie. It's a movie that is made for kids, but honestly, I think the adults come away loving this movie so much more.
Yeah, it's great. I don't really have a ton to add. I agree with everything you said. I think the only difference between us is I probably prioritize the depth and meaning more than the comedy, and you prioritize the comedy more.
Yeah.
But honestly, they're both so good that it doesn't matter which you prioritize more, because both work so well.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm with you.
All right, your number 2.
My number 2 is Gone Baby Gone.
Honorable mention, I'll take it off.
I've talked about this movie many, many times. It's been on many Best Ever Challenge lists. It is the prime example for me of that movie you can't quit thinking about. The moral conundrum movie, where you walk out and you're just like, what would I do? Which way would I go? This is the prime example of that kind of movie, and I don't know that any movie has done it better. I think Ben Affleck...
Casey.
Well, I was going to say Ben.
Oh, for directing.
But yeah, directing this movie just kind of jumped onto the scene and was basically like, look what I can do. Like, oh.
Yeah.
Very nicely done, Mr. Guy I thought was, you know, just a one-time wonder with Good Will Hunting. And then...
riding Damon's coattails.
No,
he's here and he's here to stay.
No, and this movie announced that Casey is great. Casey Affleck's great. Morgan Freeman's great. The whole story is just so powerful and real, and it just feels very authentic. This is one of my favorite movies ever.
Well, the thing that, you know, Damon and they do, Affleck's do, they really make Boston a character of all their movies, you know, because they know it so well. You look at The Town, you look at Good Will Hunting, you look at this. It's that character, it's just that place. You feel like you recognize it because they make it feel so real.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
Great movie. So my number 2.
Yep.
Shawshank.
Yeah.
You trumping it?
I am.
Okay.
But I mean, we'll talk about it soon, obviously.
Sure.
Like right now.
Like right now.
It's my number 1.
Yeah.
I mean, what remains to be said about the Shawshank Redemption?
It truly was Shawshank Redemption.
It really, honestly, I don't know what I could say that other people haven't said a million times before.
On IMDb, it's rated the greatest movie of all time.
It's just so meaningful, so powerful. Performances, you buy into it. It's one of those movies that you can't take your eyes off of.
No,
like you know, there are movies where even in our multitask culture, where I'm on my phone and I'm on my laptop and the movie's going on the TV, where I can, you know, kind of pay attention, especially if I've seen it before. No. But this is one of those movies. It doesn't matter how many times I've seen it. if I start it, I ain't doing nothing else.
Yeah.
Every second of that movie grabs me. So
and there's a lot of minutes, but you don't feel them. It's a long movie.
No.
But you're sucked in.
Mm-hmm.
And, you just care about how Andy is doing inside the prison Shawshank.
Your Morgan Freeman is so good, Andrew. I don't know how we ever survived. Tell me about penguins now, please.
Here's the thing about penguins.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's very cold.
Nice.
And they run from seals.
Yeah, I think I have Shawshank Lake in my top 20, I think. But it's definitely amazing.
Yeah, it's right up there for me.
Yep.
Roughly top 20, top 25, somewhere around there. I don't feel like looking it up. But now we're talking about The Dark Knight.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Ooh. If I was going off of his performance in a movie, I think that Lucius really shines in Batman Begins.
Mm-hmm.
But, when you look at the Dark Knight trilogy as a whole, it just comes down to the Dark Knight and what Heath Ledger did. Was,
this
insane.
is the one of the Batman movies we're going to use as a representative of Morgan Freeman's involvement, right? It is.
If I threw out Dark Knight Rises, people would be like, huh? No, it's got to be The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
If we're talking about that trilogy, then easily. I don't know how often we keep bringing this movie up. It's the same way with Shawshank, It just feels like, do you remember all the things we've always praised about that movie? We're just going to,
Here's our, today on SiftPop, we're going to be doing the best ever challenge of movies not named The Dark Knight or Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it feels like sometimes.
Or The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh, I'll always talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. But
it's what's amazing for Andrew is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is #1 on his best ever movies not named The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. That's how much he loves it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I literally don't know how it happened. I actually, what I did is I took the Italian I burro,
right? Yeah,
and
exactly.
I just put that in there.
That's right.
It's a great movie.
It's not named The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. This is an amazing movie.
You guys definitely need to check it out. But yeah, out of all the Dark Knight, it's, for me, man, it easily top 5. It's possibly the greatest superhero movie ever made. Possibly.
Yeah. No, I certainly in that conversation.
Yeah.
And I love it as well. I don't love it quite as much as everybody else, but I mean, it's still it's still in my top 100 movies ever. Yeah. So, it is an incredible work.
Yeah. Now, for the plethora, the many honorable mentions.
I only have a few that I'm going to mention.
You go through yours.
Yeah, I was
going to
say I'll just mention mine, and then you can mention the rest of the ones you want to touch on. Shout out to Oblivion. I think this is an underrated movie. Tom Cruise movie.
I didn't like it the first time I saw it.
Did you see it a second time yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it getting better for you?
I appreciated it more. I don't want to see it again.
I still enjoy it. I really enjoy it. But I do also have a Tom Cruise thing. I think he's amazing.
Yeah.
The Bucket List, I would mention. Lean on Me, which I didn't even realize he had a role in. Glory.
Yep.
Worth mentioning. And Unforgiven, I think you have to mention as well.
Yeah.
Are definitely ones. So yeah, what about you?
Okay, so let me just finish marking those off. Unforgiven was very close to making
your list.
Yeah. You know how much I love Westerns.
I do.
And Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. $1 Million Baby. Phenomenal movie.
Yeah, I didn't like that one as much as most people did.
Really?
But I understand. I get it.
I think whenever I was redoing my top 100 movies of all time, it was number 100. And then some movies came out. I'm like, well, farewell. I hope you enjoyed your time on the list. But I really love that movie. Invictus, good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Red.
Yep.
Red's just a funny movie, geriatric assassins.
Sure.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Driving Miss Daisy.
Okay.
Along Came a Spider. I don't know why I like that movie, but I really do.
It's not bad.
I think it's fun.
It's not bad.
A movie that so many people don't like, but I don't get. I think it's great. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Kevin Costner's not good in that movie.
Well, his accent's not good.
Yeah,
He's
his
fine.
accent's not good, but you look at Morgan Freeman, you look at, what's his name? Snape. What's his name? Who played Snape in the Harry Potter movies?
You're put me on the spot and I can't remember, even though I know that guy's name.
Hans Gruber. That's what I'm going to say. Hans Gruber's great in that movie. Unleashed. Have you ever seen Unleashed?
No.
A Jet Li movie with Morgan Freeman.
Okay.
Where it's Morgan Freeman, Jet Li, and Bob Hoskins. Where Bob Hoskins takes a kid whenever he's like 2 or 3, and he raises him as an attack dog. And that's what he uses him for. Like, if he takes his collar off of Jet Li, then Jet Li just turns into a monster killer, and he just attacks everything in the room until he gets the collar put back on him. You know, he trained him like that. But then he's taken in by Morgan Freeman, who tries to rehabilitate him and turn him back into a person.
Alan Rickman, by the way.
Thank you, Alan Rickman.
Yep.
Hans Gruber. But it's a movie I didn't expect much. I thought it was going to be just a regular, Jet Li action movie, but there's actually something going on there that I think is really good.
Very cool.
While there is still, Jet Li action in it.
Yeah.
After that, Amistad, Outbreak. I like Outbreak.
I like Outbreak enough.
That's a mean, sick monkey is what that was.
Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
Dreamcatcher.
Okay.
Did you see it?
Nah.
No. It's Stephen King. I like it. And Sum of All Fears, which is not Stephen King.
No.
That's Tom Clancy.
That is Clancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been in a bunch.
And
everybody got to get him some Freeman.
That was me shortening down the list. Like I said,
Nice.
I could have just put his entire IMDb
Well
page.
done.
Yeah,
Very well done.
The guy's done work.
Yeah. Well, if you want to see the official SiftPop.com list, you can go to SiftPop.com and click on the top 10 Morgan Freeman movies there.
The top 10 greatest Morgan Freeman movies of all time.
I mean, you would be in the top 10 greatest Morgan Freeman impressions of all time, for sure.
Oh, that's very kind of you, Aaron. It's not that great, don't.
It's amazing.
No.
It's beautiful.
It's a good
Morgan?
bad,
Is Morgan here?
It's a good bad Morgan and Freeman impression.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's kind of like my Arnold, just
That's all you need.
I get to the chopper.
That's all you need. All right, let's head on to the rest of the show. But before we get on to the Sift Quest,
Yeah.
I'd like to thank everybody that's leaving reviews at Apple Podcasts. Have a couple here that want to highlight.
The Vanilla Chronicles?
The Vanilla Chronicles continue. Let's start with the one from SM Heasley. 5-star review says, great podcast reviews of current films.
Hey.
Such a great show. I love the fact that I can listen to the non-spoiler episode and get some extra content. Sift Quest and Best Ever Challenges. Aaron and Andrew have great chemistry, and I love the fact that they don't always agree. I love that fact as well. Highly recommended for any movie fan. Also, Aaron said reviewers should plug their podcast. So, Aaron and Andrew, this is your official invite to guest on the Hugo's There podcast at hugospodcast.com. Yes.
That is a great name.
Absolutely, 100%. If you leave a review
We'll give you a shout
or
out.
send us a Sift Quest or whatever, and you want to shout out your podcast or whatever, just let us know. We'd absolutely love to do that.
Hugo'sPodcast.com.
Something like that. Alrighty, the other one's from D. Byron, 1996, and yes, he says, if vanilla is too exciting is the name of the title. If vanilla is too exciting for you, then you'll probably love this show. Enjoy it with a side of plain crackers, unbuttered popcorn, or plain white rice.
I love plain white rice.
Truly a great show. Been listening for years, and I don't think I'll stop.
Oh,
appreciate
thanks,
that.
Byron.
Love that, and I just love that we've turned a negative into a positive here.
Oh, yeah.
The one negative review we have on Apple Podcasts compares us to vanilla.
Yeah.
But who doesn't love vanilla? And plain crackers and unbuttered popcorn. Thank you for that, D. Brian. We really do appreciate it. And we'd love to hear your comments as well. Also, thank you to our SiftPop members for making this possible. You can go to Patreon to check out what membership is all about. Basically starts at $3 a month. You get the episodes early. You get the bonus episodes that we do. We talked a little bit about Angel Has Fallen because one of us went ahead and saw it, Andrew. I don't know if you know this. So we talked a little bit about that on the bonus show. So all that's available to our members as well as a monthly hangout, all sorts of cool stuff. Just check it out at Patreon. It's patreon.com/SiftPop. All right, you ready for the Sift Quest?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to take a look at a Sift Quest. This one comes to us from Aaron. Hey, that's me.
Oh, what you got?
Hey, Aaron and Andrew. I have a Sift quest for the pod. Seems like a trend in recent years that the Oscars splits Best Picture and Best Director. Yeah, that has been happening a lot lately.
Yeah.
But I find that people have different views on what makes the best directing. How does directing differ from overall quality of a movie? And what's an example of a movie, if any, that is well directed but not a good movie? Thanks. I always love to hear your thoughts. You want to start? What did you think? What do you think?
It really, I honestly, I couldn't really think of a movie that I thought was well directed that I
Me
didn't.
either.
Because, if I see something that's good directing, there's obviously something there.
See, great directing saves bad movies.
Yeah.
And they're not bad movies anymore because the direction is so great.
You can have movies with great performances that are bad.
Sure, absolutely. But if you're doing your job as a director, you're putting the pieces together correctly. You're figuring out how everything meshes together. And I think there are a couple movies I would mention specifically where great directors saved what could have been an awful movie. And you're going to be shocked when I say them because they're great movies. But I think they're great movies because the directors were amazing.
Yeah.
Gravity is one. I think Gravity is an incredible movie almost primarily because Cuarón is just incredible at directing it.
Yeah.
And the way he puts it together and the things that he chooses to do save that movie.
It could have been just another cliche Sandra Bullock stuck in
Absolutely.
space movie.
In the same exact thing, in the same exact area. Interstellar by Nolan, I think, is one of those movies where with a different director, I don't know if it works, but he just puts it together so well.
The movie's already confusing enough.
Right,
You
exactly.
have to have a mind like Nolan's to make it work.
So I think there are movies where they are saved by great direction, but honestly, it is very rare that there would be a well-directed movie that would be bad. There isn't a lot of that. Does that make sense? Do you feel the same way?
I'm right there with you.
So what would you say directing is then? Like, how do you determine what a good director does?
Well, a good director can make you. It's immersion for me. A lot of time, it's not the only thing. If you can make me believe that this place that you're showing me is real, whether it be fantasy or even period piece or anything like that, if you can make it feel real, then it's easier to buy into. Like one of my favorite directors I always go back to is Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah.
If you look at Blade Runner and how he made that world real, with the variety, the grays, and then the oranges, his use of colors to show range, but also nothing feels out of place, He made that world feel real. Another director that I'll always go to that helps you with immersion is Edgar Wright, because even though his movies can be ridiculous, it's his shot choices, those quick zooms and stuff that if you look at Hot Fuzz, you're like, oh, okay, so this is the type of movie that it's really trying to make itself,
For sure. Yeah.
So a good director can make anything work.
Yeah, I always think of it in terms of, like I said, putting the pieces together, making sure all the different pieces of what it takes to work in a movie work in unison.
Yeah, they're the head of, they make it work.
So the performances, the pace, the tone, the editing, the script, the art style, all that stuff can compete with each other if you're not careful. And a great director, I think, finds a way to go, okay, here's the tone, here's the pace, here's the editing we're going to do, here's the the script, because it works together. So he's kind of a puzzle maker. Great directors really puts the pieces together. I did have one example, but I think the only time you're going to get examples of a well-directed film that isn't a great film is when what makes it not a great film to you is something outside of the movie itself. In the best,
like Mel Gibson or something.
Well, yeah, sure, absolutely, 100%. Yeah. The best example for me is The Greatest Showman. I think The Greatest Showman is a very well-directed movie. It understands the kind of movie that it is.
But P.T. Barnum.
But that P.T. Barnum thing makes it almost impossible for me to enjoy it in that way. And the guy that directed that, his name is Michael Gracie. And I think it was proved with his second movie, which was Rocket Man, which I loved, which I really enjoyed, and I think is very underlooked this year so far. Because Rocket Man takes the incredible direction he did in Greatest Showman and applies it authentically to, a character in a different way. I think something like that is where I would say this answer lands, for me. Somebody like Michael Gracie.
Yeah.
In The Greatest Showman.
That's actually really good. I still haven't seen the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
It's well done.
I you know me, I'm not a musical guy, so I really had no.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the whole... I don't think I'm as upset about the whole P.T. Barnum thing as you are. I totally understand it, you know? I'm like, yeah, he was a horrible person.
Yeah.
So where it's like springtime for Hitler, you know?
It really is. Yeah.
The Greatest Showman is the modern springtime for Hitler.
Yeah. I hate it so much I'm losing my voice, apparently.
Exactly.
Which is fascinating.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, my voice is gone. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to our buried treasure then. What's that one thing in any area of pop culture that you want to make sure people know about? Andrew, go ahead.
Older TV show called The League.
Okay.
You know me, I just, last week we had to do the show early because I went up to Kansas City for fantasy football. That's what the show's about. It's literally about a fantasy football league. And this show is a documentary. Like, not literally a documentary, but like you watch the show, it is exactly how me and my friends, I say friends, we treat each other. You watch this show and you think that these people hate each other more than they've hated anybody in their lives. But it's all in this.
What a cast.
Yeah.
Paul Scheer, Nick Kroll,
Yeah.
Mark Duplass, Jason Mantzoukas.
Yeah.
These are some funny people.
And
Seth Rogen.
You get some great cameos like Jeff Goldblum and Brie Larson before she was Brie Larson.
Before she was Brie Larson.
Yeah, before she did Room or Scott Pilgrim or Captain Marvel, you know.
Yeah.
But this is one of the funniest shows. I am going to give one of the biggest cautionary like adult content warnings. There's no nudity or gore or anything like that, but the profanity, if profanity bugs you in any way, this is not a show for you.
Looks like it ran 7 seasons.
Yeah.
How many have you watched?
Oh, I've seen the whole season.
Okay,
like
you're just watching it again?
4 or 5 times through. Yeah.
Well, that's fun.
It's honestly in the top 5 funniest shows I've ever seen in my life.
Nice.
Yeah. Maybe because I can relate to it so much that I'm like, okay, yeah, that's me. That character right there was me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, mine is not one of the funniest shows of all time. This is the David Fincher that I knew we were going to talk about.
Oh, I was wondering, like, what other David Fincher, Morgan Freeman movie? I was like, that's what I was racking my head around.
It's the only thing he's been working on for the last few years. Mindhunter, the show on Netflix. Season 2 came out.
Haven't started season 2 yet.
Man, this is good.
Is it?
Oh, so good. Now, Fincher directs the first couple episodes of both seasons. He also directs the last few episodes of the first season. And I think he directs the last few of this season as well. I could be wrong about that. But you can see his fingerprints all over this show. This is basically Zodiac, the TV show.
Yeah.
If you dig kind of the psychological digging in he did to the Zodiac killer and those kind of things in Zodiac, man, this is going to be right up your alley. And Fincher is so great, and he's so smart. He understands character and tension so well. There are just half of this show, probably more than half of this show, is just people sitting at a table interviewing serial killers. But it is so intense, and you're so engaged. And you know, it's one of those things that, you know, it's not a show my wife would necessarily enjoy. She's not a true crime person, that kind of thing. But she was walking through yesterday while I was watching some of it, and it just locked her in. There's something about the way he presents story that it's really engaging, and this show is just it's really brilliant. I'm really falling in love with it again this second season. I'm really glad it got a second season.
It for me, it was like Handmaid's Tale in the sense that after I watched an episode, I couldn't immediately watch the next episode.
Oh, really?
Like I have to take breaks in between.
Interesting.
Yeah, just because I forget his name, but you know, the serial killers that they are interviewing in the show, it's not a documentary series or anything like that, but the characters that are portraying these serial killers are so like intense that you're like, I just got to take a break from that, you know?
Well, but it is also based on real serial killers as well.
That's
I mean,
exactly
Charles Manson is interviewed in the second season.
He's actually in, because they kept talking about him in the first season.
Yeah, yep. They talked to Charlie in the second season. They talked to all these Son of Sam. They talked to in the second season as well.
Ooh.
So, and that stuff is fascinating. By the way, the actor who plays Charles Manson in Mindhunter is the same actor who played it in Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
It's like, of all the things to, flirt getting typecast with. I wouldn't flirt getting typecast with Charles Manson.
Yeah.
But anyways, that stuff, and it's also based on the truth of how the FBI started to think about the psychology of serial killing. It was this new thing, and they were trying to figure out these type of people who just, they were psycho.
And that element of the show was the biggest draw of to me, because
Right.
I'm like, oh, it wasn't the fact that they were going to be interviewing like real life serial killers or anything like that. It was the fact that they were telling the story of how the FBI was like, if we're going to fight crazy, we need to understand crazy. I think that's an actual line from the show.
Yeah.
But where they had to change their whole outlook on how to prevent, like if we understand like how these people become who they are, then maybe we can stop something in the future, prevent. It's a fascinating show. It's really good.
The dynamic of the main team is also really great. The chemistry is great. The
old curmudgeon and the young guy.
I think his name is Holt McCallany. That plays Bill Tench. Jonathan Groff plays Holden Ford. Their dynamic is interesting. And then Anna Torv comes in as Wendy. You may remember Anna from Fringe.
I loved Anna Torv in that show.
And I love her in this show too. She's great. So it's definitely one of those shows that, you look at it, you might think, oh, that's going to be rough and that's going to be dark and it's going to be hard to get through. And I'm not telling you you're all wrong. I'm just saying the journey is, I think it's worth the ride. It's just so well done.
Ed Kemper, that's who I was thinking of.
Yes.
The guy they keep interviewing. He's the guy who does that performance is super good, but like
too creepy for you.
It's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it just the Son of Sam interview and the Charlie Manson interview. It's just incredible. The performances, the way it's done.
It's so.
And
much,
I'm 6 episodes into the new season, so I've got a couple. I think there's 9.
It's so much like 7. Like it feels so much like 7.
I don't know. I think there's a hopefulness to it that 7 doesn't have, though. Do you understand what I'm saying?
There's no boxes.
Right. No. Absolutely, 100%. There's this show, as dark and as the subject matter is. There's almost a hopefulness to, we got to figure this out. We have to understand what's going on here, and there's almost a yes, these kind of people exist, but it's like the hopefulness of don't be in denial about it. Actually figure it out and engage with it, and
Yeah.
It does have an effect on our main characters that is dark and interesting, but at the same time, it's, I don't know. There's something a little different, I think, between this and 7, and I think it has to do with the overall tone.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, with the fact that we do know that in the end they did develop this this working theory, to help identify serial killers and stuff like that, which, is hopeful, but at the same time, in order to do that, they had to interview some of the most horrifying people in history.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
I am excited to start season 2,
Good.
though.
Well, there you go. That's that is my buried treasure.
Yeah.
Well, we did it.
Huzzah!
We developed a working theory on podcasting and followed it through.
We're calling them shows now. There was so much murder in this episode.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Like
Phil has to clean it up.
The bounty of bodies that we left.
It's just like the bathroom in It. It's just blood all over
everywhere.
the place. There's blood everywhere.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Phil.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us today for SiftPop. It is part of the Studio DNA Podcast Network. You can find out more about other shows on the network at studiodna.media, or just search Studio DNA in whatever podcast player you use. Huge thanks to Andrew for hanging out today.
Hey.
Catch him online at Flick Freaks on Twitter. Pretty much all the socials is Flick Freaks, right?
Yeah, but I don't use them.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I have them. I don't use them.
Fair enough.
I don't remember the last time I got
Fair
on
enough.
any social
I'll quit
media.
sending people there then. If you want me to.
Honestly, you might as well stop sending people, because I don't think I've logged on Twitter in like 2 or 3 weeks.
It's healthy, man. Hey, get some
Honestly,
distance.
it feels so good getting on social media.
I hear you. I get it. Also, big thanks to Phil for hanging out and doing the production of both the audio show that you hear and the video show that you see. If you check us out on YouTube, thanks to people who check us out on YouTube.
Yeah.
We're doing these live now, so if you want to check out the video of the live show,
Do it live.
just subscribe to the SiftPop YouTube channel. So just go to youtube.com/SiftPop or search for SiftPop. You know how it works. Much love and gratitude to our SiftPop members as well for giving monthly to make SiftPop a real thing. Support starts at $3 a month, and you get access to every bonus episode as well as some other fun perks, including a monthly video hangout. You can find more information at patreon.com/SiftPop. Lots of ways to connect with the podcast. Comment, rate, leave a review at Apple Podcasts like the ones that we read. Also, you can email us at feedback@siftpop.com. That is also the email you use if you want to get your Sift Quest in. And finally, if you're having a good time, your movie-loving friends will probably like the show too, so make sure you let them know about it and that listening is much easier than learning how to operate a crossbow. We're going to do some spoilers for Ready or Not up next, and then we'll be back next week with the results of the Summer Sum Game. So that's going to be a fun one. We'll talk some other pop culture stuff as well. And we'll see you then.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on the video. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out at YouTube with us. Toby is in the chat live for the first time.
Hey.
Toby, great to see you. Toby is a SiftPop member. Thank you, Toby. Appreciate that very much. Let's see. He says, I would put Unforgiven as top 5, even top 2 behind SS. What is SS?
Shawshank. No, that's not.
Yeah, I was thinking. Oh, maybe it is Shawshank. Maybe that's what SS is. Maybe,
okay.
yeah. So yeah, very nice. Deep Impact. Did we mention Deep Impact as a Morgan Freeman movie?
Actually, we didn't.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We couldn't mention everything.
Like I said, he has a lot of. He has a big
Deep
catalog.
Impact good?
Huh?
Is Deep Impact good?
I think
It's been so long.
the better of the two.
Yeah,
Is
between
it?
that and
I
Armageddon.
kind of enjoy Armageddon more.
Oh,
I
really?
thought. I don't know.
Wanna close
Right?
my eyes.
We did Armageddon on the Horrible Movie Podcast.
I don't want to sing a song about my daughter hooking up with Ben Affleck.
And on that note, we're going to record some spoilers. So that'll be at a different video. So we'll see you there.
Did I ever tell you